What a family is the Bitesize Breakdown crew, and we are back with another episode of The Bigger Bite, and this time we are here for the 77% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, Paul Feig directed erotic thriller mystery movie that he did called The Housemaid. And in case you're wondering, why are we doing this on The Housemaid? It's because this gentleman, as soon as he got out, was like, I must talk about this film immediately. So, Nick, how are you feeling about going into this conversation about The Housemaid?
Look, I am not as an actor, Sydney Sweeney hater. I think she's actually pretty good in Christie. She's been fine in Euphoria. I have no real issues with her. I don't think she's a lead actress, but that's neither here nor there. I didn't have low hopes or wishes for this film to do poorly. Man, I hated this thing. I really, as I was watching it, was reminded over and over again about how much I was disliking the film that I was currently watching. And when I saw that Rotten Tomatoes score and I've heard feedback from other people, I flabbergasted doesn't even begin to explain how I feel.
Adriano, tell us how you really feel.
What I'm about to tell you are the only films I thought were worse than The Housemaid in 2025. Flight Risk, Hurry Up Tomorrow, Lilo and Stitch, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, The Electric State. That's it. I thought this movie was atrocious across, like, I literally said, like, oh, I think everything about that was terrible. And when I saw these scores, I'm like, excuse me. I can't believe the pass this movie's getting.
Y'all, this movie's not good. It's not that bad. It really is not. I left the theater like, wow, this is much better than I expected it to be. There's a whole lot that goes wrong with this film, but there's a whole lot that goes right with this film. I do not blame y'all for not liking it. Considering it all out the worst thing you've seen this year, when a Minecraft movie exists and other things like that do, I mean, I had fun with this thing at the end of the day. But you know what, Nick, you go ahead and kick us off. You were the one who called this little meeting. So get into the worst of the worst, I guess.
I know Paul Feig has a lot of detractors with some of his work and the way he does things, and I know that Another Simple Favor this year was not a very good film at all. But I tend to have fun with most of his filmmaking. I tend to at least get some level of enjoyment, or most importantly, he seems to be aiming for you to have fun with it. That wasn't here at all. I didn't even feel the intention that he wanted you to have fun with this movie. And that was the thing that really threw me more than anything about it, is it doesn't have, Another Simple Favor is ridiculous and not very good, but it aims to have fun. It's got that Knives Out kind of whodunit fun style, dumbed down a little bit for lack of a better term. But this one I can't see where I'm supposed to have fun with this. It's oddly way more serious than it needs to be. The characters are not really fleshed out, not really particularly interesting. And even though I can't rack my brain to find out what film it was that I thought was very similar to this, because as I was watching it, I was like, I've seen this before, I've seen this before, I've seen this before. I don't know what film it is that I just find this so memorable of. I think it's just so many cliches and so many tropes in one film that it reminded me of so many other things that may not be the exact same. And it just left me at the end of this what did we do here? What did we accomplish here? And what was the point of any of what we were watching?
I'm going to sound really weird this entire episode, because I'm going to be kind of defending it, but also at the same time saying everything that was not good about it. My biggest takeaway, which I don't think y'all see, there's a good movie in here. There's an actually very good movie in here. For me, it is because it's way too fucking long. If
Yes.
you cut off 25 minutes and rejigger the structure of the film, I think it would have been the biggest surprise of the year. For one, sorry, Sydney Sweeney, your narration was trash. Who was that bad? And just getting rid of her narration and moving Amanda Seyfried's somewhere in between it to kind of relay the story a little bit. I'm not a movie maker, so I'm not going to try to figure that out. But by the time Amanda's narration started, I was already detracted by Sydney's. So if I didn't like get put off by hers and started with Amanda somehow, that is where the fun started. So like I'm gonna break it down into two parts, and then I'll move on. One, the beginning of the film, thinking about it, I can see how you're saying it's not fun, but the dynamic between Amanda and Brendan, right? Not Brendan or Brandon. Brendan Sklenner, that guy. Brandon. Okay. The dynamic between them two was what was carrying the film. Amanda was going all in and batshit crazy, and Brandon was playing the nice guy really, really well opposite her. So I was kind of holding on to them. So I was like, this is what I'm holding on to. I like their dynamic. This is cool. I can see where it's not fun. Not fun, but I like the story, the back and forth between them two, and how Sydney's stuck in the middle of it, even though she's not that great, but she's there. So dealing with the batshit crazy, I was holding on to that. It's the second half. That second half, again, that is way too damn long. But it's the second half where you get the twist and he turns on his head and she's locked up and then he's locked up. That's where the fun came in for me. But simultaneously, I was like, why are we still in this movie now? Why is this still going? Oh my gosh. So again, I don't think it is good per se, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world because it had something to grab on both half of these films. Both half of these movies, because I think it's two movies put in one.
You know how long a movie has to drag for like me to notice? Like I'll watch any long movie, and this I was just like, wow, this is like I think it was I think I was like, oh god, I feel like I've been in here for like several hours, and it wasn't even one. This movie is just like just from a tonal perspective everywhere. Like it starts off like, oh, it's like a Stepford Wives. Like, okay, there's something obviously not being told here. Like, yeah, this dynamic between Sweeney and Seyfried, one of which can act. And there's like, okay, something's off here. And I think the movie just seems to suggest, and times that's like, oh, it's because she's mentally ill. Isn't that scary? And I know they tell us eventually it's not that. But, and then like, then it becomes like a YA teenage romance for like teenage girls, like in the middle.
50
and like
Shades of Grey, real quick.
Like the needle drops are atrocious in this movie. Some of the like, and then like it becomes like a horror mystery, and then it devolves obviously with that back half when the truth of this family comes to light.
Did you say devolves? Like it got worse in the back half?
Like when I say devolve, I mean like narratively, like in world things start to turn for the worst.
Okay,
like
cool.
She gets locked in a room and tortured. It's not good, but like that's what I mean by devolves. Yeah, when that twist happened, I was like, okay, for the first time in this movie, I'm a little interested. And then she explains it for like 30 minutes, and I'm like, I'm over it already again. And then yeah, the whole thing happens, and suddenly it's an action revenge thriller, and I'm like, God, this movie can't pick a lane to save its life. And that's kind of the worst part about it. This movie is the writing is terrible. Like the writing is awful. Like there's a line early on where Seyfried's like, he's gonna tell you about how Barry Lyndon's an underappreciated masterpiece. Barry Lyndon's universally agreed to be a masterpiece, idiots. But the direction is like the part where I'm like, this is just toothless. Like as a thriller dealing with like some serious subjects, this is just, it's shot almost like a comedy, which yeah, that's Feig's specialty. But it's like, if you're gonna take on this like a project like this, you gotta step up a little bit, you know, like you want to like take on a different tone entirely. You gotta like put some teeth behind it, and there just wasn't any. And part of that might be because Sweeney it just is not good in this movie, and she just is not a relatable person. Like, she can't play anything at all, but she just cannot be like, oh, she's just some person. Maybe that's part of it, but this movie oh my god, it's such a train wreck. I can't believe people like it.
Adriano, I'm gonna be honest with you here. Your whole thing about the Barry Lyndon line, I don't know what Barry Lyndon is acclaimed or not, so it worked for me. So the pretentiousness that you just spewed there kind of hits with why that line actually works, sir. Just a little bit.
To that, I'd say it's, if you know what Barry Lyndon is, you would not be saying that line. Is all I would say.
How many people do? That isn't like.
It's a Stanley Kubrick.
I don't know what it is.
It's a Kubrick movie.
Oh, hell no, I don't know what the fuck Barry Lyndon is. So of course I can be like, is it supposed to be good? Is that it hit for me?
Either way,
I think it's going to hit for general audiences.
Either way, underappreciated is the wrong word to use for a movie like that.
I think, like we talked about the tone of this film, I think camp would have done this movie a lot of good. If it went full camp, I think there is fun that could have been had here. But the thing that it does that really works against its early serious tone for me is there's a couple things right off the top where it feels like a film that expects its audience to just kind of be dumb. And I'm all for suspension of disbelief, but stupid things like the idea that we have this beautiful Grandoy's house and we hire this housekeeper. And hey, just on a whim, do you do any cooking? And then all of a sudden, even though she has no housekeeping experience, she's a great chef. Also, they live in a house like that and don't have a personal chef, which in itself is very strange considering he comes from quite an amount of money. And it's little things like that early in the film where I'm like, it feels like you think I'm dumb, that like these little notes that could easily be glossed over are put here. And again, in a comedy, something campy, it would work for sure. But it's like, okay, you know there's an air of some kind of a mystery here if you know anything about the book and stuff going in. So you kind of are on your detective kind of looking, trying to figure things out throughout. And when those two things happened off the top, I was like, oh, it feels like this isn't as well told as I think it's going to be, because there's stupid, unnecessary plot holes right off the top that you could have put something in to explain them, and it instantly took me out. And like you said, the twist made things interesting because of the length of the film. I was checked out by the time the twist happened. Enough of this film had happened that I was just like, the twist just didn't do anything for me. I don't think Brandon's great after the twist. I think he's fine, but I don't think he elevates it to some incredible villainous performance that would make it work. And I think Amanda's the strongest performance in the film. But yeah, it's one of those films that I genuinely don't know what the aim was here. I've never read the book, so I don't know if the book is a little bit campier, but I don't know what the goal was.
Yeah, like that's another thing. Like, it's the people defending this movie are like, "Oh no, it's fine, it's camp," and I'm like, "You gotta. This movie is not camp. It takes itself really, really seriously. Like, people use camp all the time to justify something they want to like being bad. I'm looking at you. What's M. Night Shyamalan's daughter's name again? Well, her in Trap, like giving a terrible performance. Someone's like, "No, it's good. It's camp." It's like, that's not how camp works. This is just like, this takes itself really, really almost to an obnoxious degree seriously. Like, you can, like, hey, you know, you're dealing with serious subject. I get that. Well, multiple serious subjects, but that's what, again, it's almost like trying to have your cake and eat it too. Like, it's all over the place. This movie is like crying. I don't know. I didn't see the moments where it's like, oh, it's just ridiculous, just silly. Like, I guess when Seyfried was like going bonkers, I guess, but like, hey, but then you find out why she's acting bonkers, and it's like, well, where's the camp then? Like, where's this camp?
That's not camp. That's trauma.
that's desperation.
Yeah.
The length of this movie is the worst part. It is 100%.
Not the worst, but one of.
I think it's the worst part. I honestly think it's the worst part because by the time we got to them coming back from the hotel, I was like, all right, this movie should be over in like the next 10, 15 minutes. How is this wrapping up? Amanda's going to go ahead and because I knew nothing of the books. Amanda is going to go ahead and there's going to be an end fight. It's going to be like Obsession between Beyonce and the movie Beyonce, Idris and Ali Larter. It's going to go, and I'm going to be like, all right, cool. That was whatever. That wasn't like horrible, but that wasn't the greatest. And then the twist happens, and that's, again, piqued my interest. And then I was like, but wait, how? There's still like 30, 40 minutes left in this film. And that's why I think it's the worst part because, one, I'm going to ask, the way I look at it now is I just look at it at 3 separate parts. I really, really enjoyed Amanda and Brandon's dynamic at the beginning of the film. She being like just overbearing, and Amanda went straight in on being absolute, like just playing the seriousness of having mental illness, and Brandon being the loving partner who's really nice and the one who's telling you, okay, don't worry about it. Like, I thought their dynamic was great. And if you would have just cut that middle section of 50 Shades of Grey out of the movie and went into like that turn, I actually do think Brandon does an amazing job relatively. To be very clear, being relative to this film, I think he plays that switch very subtly, very quickly, and he was believable as both, and that's why I enjoyed it. Like, take that. I'm gonna ask about the first part of the movie. Like, nothing about Amanda and Brandon, like, at least as that you didn't know the rest of the movie was coming. You thought, all right, they're just taking that seriously. They didn't do nothing for y'all.
No. It was like I don't know. It was super obvious to me. It was like that he had like. Are we allowed to say openly what happens?
Oh yeah,
we've been spoiling for a minute.
It was super obvious to me that like there was something like nefarious about him. Like he was too nice and he's being too passive against this woman's behavior. And it's like, all right, he's either in on it with her or she's good, he's not. And admittedly, I leaned towards the he's on it with her type of thing.
Yeah,
and
she was a surprise in all of this.
Yeah, that part surprised me. But
I think they did foreshadowing especially with the introduction of his mother. I think they foreshadowed that this side of the family, that there's something off and evil about them. Like, they weren't subtle, but it's like when they foreshadow at the very beginning, oh man, someone falls down that staircase, they're not gonna make it. Yeah,
come on, I remember that. That like, come on, if that bullet hit me, I would be dead by now. It's like, you could not be more clear.
And again, if it was a campy film, like, that would totally work. But when they went for this uber serious tone off the top, it is like, when that line happened, in my head, I was like, well, someone's going down the stairs. Like, they don't throw a line in there like that for no reason. And it's just, I think that's where Feig's, like, his tendencies for the kind of films he usually does came in here. And it really clashed with the story that they were trying to tell. Because it's almost feels like studio interference, even though I don't think that's the case here, in that he wanted to make a campy film, but they wanted it to be a serious tone, because it feels like something just got lost along the way. And even like you said, the 50 Shades of Grey stuff, like, the most unnecessary nudity in this movie. That's just because it's Sydney Sweeney.
More than once. You
know, I wouldn't bring it up if they didn't bring attention to it, but like, is it in her contract to like show as much cleavage as possible? They bring it up in the movie and then she just keeps doing it. Like, it's got to be in the contract at this point.
They hypersexualize her in a way that it can't be forced upon her at this point. Like, she's picking the roles and she's having these scenes happen within these films, so she wants to be hypersexualized. And that's her thing. And like, there's nothing wrong with that. But it is making all of her characters feel, like you said at the beginning, like they can't be the everyman. Like, she can't be, like, Jennifer Lopez is a beautiful woman, but Sydney Sweeney's not doing Maid in Manhattan because you don't believe Sydney Sweeney is a maid. Jennifer Lopez, very attractive woman, she can play that maid. Like, she could be in that role, in that rom-com style thing. And I think the bigger question here is, where I think is a deeper question is, regardless of what you think about her talent level, it's trying to figure out where Sydney Sweeney fits in the acting world. And I think that spot is getting smaller and smaller with every role she does.
I mean, look, she's had a historically like career-killing year this year. We can all agree on that. Like, this has been a terrible year for her. Both in and out of the film world. And this conversation, we'll go back to the movie itself in a bit, but like I think this conversation came up when Christie and like had historic lows at the box office, and that's that Sweeney by design prepped her brand to appeal to like dudes, to appeal to like guys who like looking at her on Instagram. And you're not going to sell domestic abuse
people who aren't going to watch Christie.
People, you're not going to watch. Yeah, those guys aren't going to watch a movie about a gay woman, a woman who, like a domestic abuse survivor, and then a movie about like this that is also in some ways about domestic abuse. That's she wants to do those roles, but also cater to that audience, and she cannot do it both. And the numbers speak for itself. While this movie is actually doing relatively well this weekend, in her last 3 movies, last I said, historic lows.
What I'll tell you is back to Housemaid. Again, by the time we were in the end and a lot of the more fun stuff was happening, the battles between the 3 of them, who's getting locked, who's not, my audience was in it. They were so locked in. They were clapping. When he had to take his tooth out, they were like, oh my God. They were like basically Regina Hall in Scary Movie yelling at the screen.
Yeah,
they were having a blast. Okay, maybe y'all's not.
We had a couple laughs at moments that were unintentionally funny, and I think there was maybe a little bit of when Sydney Sweeney goes to make the sandwich. I think was the first time that it was like, this is probably the movie this should have been.
That part, I was like, this is like, okay, this is like actually like funny but on purpose. I think that point was a weird time to like when she made the sandwich, I was like, all right, that's kind of funny. That's actually kind of funny. I like that.
And
that's
the problem with that is they took way too long to get into her backstory. If you knew away that she was like this anti-hero, basically, whether she meant to be or not, because of what put her into prison, and then like the thing with the barkeep and all that kind of stuff, like she was a defender of abused women and things like that. Like that, you could have gone with that right away. And then you're in on the story. Sorry?
I don't get why they had to hide that to the last minute. I don't get that. Like,
I don't get why they took so long to do anything. I'm telling y'all, if they, again, cut 25 to 30 minutes out of this movie, make Amanda Seyfried the point of view, have her go through finding out who Sydney Sweeney's character is. Cut all of the sex scenes and the nudity, or if you're gonna do one sex scene and not 2, damn it. And reveal everything in a better structured way, where you're not having one narration and then a middle section and then a whole nother narration. Just tighten that shit up and not really change much else outside of that. Again, yes, writing's not great, but like if you make it tighter, I can deal with really dumb, kind of fun, actually intense movies. I see the movie in there. And that is why, as much as I don't think it's a good movie, I probably would like, no, it's just the damn length of this movie. I'm this close to saying I would watch it again if it wasn't so damn long.
I would watch this film again with a group of people knowing what it is. Like I could see revisiting this for a laugh. This movie, like we said, is totally all over the place. So I'm going to jump all over the place in this review as well. When we talk about kind of shaving it down a little bit, another thing that made no sense with the entire plot of the story that ended up leading to a part of the story that you really didn't need, except to almost feel like forced women empowerment moment, is The daughter telling her to go back for Sydney. The daughter who doesn't give a shit about Sydney.
Yeah.
The entire film is like, let's go save her. We can't just leave her. There is nothing about that daughter that gives a shit about Sydney Sweeney's character in the entire film.
And the movie implies that she kind of resents her.
Mm-hmm.
And like, and I get that in the sense that like, oh, the daughter's jaded, you know, living in a very twisted household. But it's like, where did that come from?
I'm gonna push back just a little. Again, nothing y'all are saying is wrong. But while I was watching the film, everything about that little girl, when she was like being in that, y'all know how much I can't stand children like that. You know my daily motto. Y'all have watched enough of me to know, fuck them kids. The entire time, from the very beginning, the first time she was like rude, I was like, damn, like, okay, screw you then. But every time she came back and was forceful, like went out her way to be rude, I was like, this doesn't seem like her. This doesn't seem like it's coming directly from her. This is just her having to put on a front. So like, again, not a good transition into going to save her, but there was always something in the back of my mind like, children aren't always like that. And because you're setting up this family to be really, really weird, and you have the grandmother who is absolutely like just out of her mind, there's something going on with why this little girl is being such an asshole that I believed it enough when she switched. Because I didn't consider her, after that first time, I didn't consider her an asshole by choice. I kind of considered her an asshole by nurture and her wanting to put up a front.
I mean, I don't know. The movie never really implied, like, because I think what I interpreted from her being like jaded is just like, oh, she's in a household that's clearly not okay, and her parents got something hidden going on, and then out of nowhere, and she clearly has some sort of resent towards this housemaid, and then out of nowhere, it's like, we gotta go save her. And I don't even think the movie was implying that the daughter was in on the scheme. And I kind of, part of me is just like, why not? Well, like, I think it would be a little bit more empowering for Seyfried's character if she kind of came to that conclusion on herself, like on her own, to go get Sydney, to be like.
I actually thought that part was interesting. I thought that Amanda's saying, fuck this, I'm out of here, and not even wanting to go back for her. I thought that was actually a good character moment for Amanda's character.
Sure, but if we're going to have this moment where Seyfried goes and save her, I feel like character-wise, it would make like more like thematic sense for her to like come to that conclusion on her own. Well, however it would be like her driving and like realizing even something lazy like that. It's like, to me, that makes a little more sense than the daughter doing a 180.
That's why I agree with both of you. I think you both have good points there in that, yeah, I think her not choosing it, I think is great. Don't bring her back for the rest of the film. Let her leave Sydney, or like you said, Adriano, they set it up with the plan and the gardener for her to feel guilt for what she did. Bring her back because it's her decision, because she's putting herself back in harm's way. That makes sense. The route they went is neither of those two routes and didn't make sense in the slightest.
Also, not to get like really like in there, but like, what's the message of this movie here? Because the first two, because like you said, Rue, there are two halves of this movie. One of them is all like mental illness, and then the back half is toxic relationships. And it's like there's nothing. I think the back half is more what they wanted, but it's like there's nothing in the first half that implies like any form of dangerous toxicity. We all kind of like, I suspected there was like something dark looming, but it kind of just felt like out of thin air. Like, I don't think the movie did enough to like. One movie I really liked that came out, I believe, last year, but we saw it a couple years ago, was Woman of the Hour, that the Anna Kendrick movie, where like it had a really good job of like, all right, through this notorious serial killer, here's a really interesting dissection of how men manipulate women. I didn't feel that in this movie. I can't tell if that's what they were aiming for, and so much of this movie was about like mental illness and stuff like that. And I get there's a bit of a gaslighting thing going on with, I guess, Brandon Steele's character and everyone.
Oh, more than a bit.
But like, it just kind of like when it finally got to that point, it was just like, we're an hour and 20 minutes in, and you're just now setting up this like thematic. This feels forced.
I was not looking for any kind of message watching this movie.
You don't have to.
I made that decision very quickly.
You don't, even if you're not looking for it, the movie is dealing with some serious subjects.
It is, yes.
And you know, and to that I say, are they trying to say something about it, or are they just kind of using it to pull the rug out from you? And I'm not saying this, and I'm not saying it's reprehensible one way or another. I'm saying I don't know, and that to me like is a bit worse to say like I don't know what they're doing with these.
It does feel like a movie that thinks it has a message, and that message is never clear. But I don't feel like it's a movie that you're supposed to just be like, oh, this is my, 4 hours of entertainment or whatever it is. It felt about as long as the Quentin Tarantino whole bloody affair, at least. And
that was entertaining.
Yeah. But it just ends. And don't get me started in the ending either. Speaking of
the ending, this. So if I had to make a choice, because again, I made a decision quickly. This movie is not trying to say much of anything. It is just giving you something to look at. Sure, but at the end, given the fact that it is setting up a vigilante-ish woman who is going to be attacking future and going after future womanizing rich men, if there is a message, it would be time for women to take power back from the men who are abusing them. That would be what I'm getting. And also, I want to make sequels, which don't miss.
So that's not even the ending. That's not even the ending I was talking about. But putting out the female vigilante thing, like we're talking about Sydney Sweeney, and regardless of what you think about her, like there's an example of this sets up that Sydney Sweeney could go on a obviously different tonally version, but her version of like a promising young woman streak, her character. And I think that's something that Sydney Sweeney in a different tone film could actually play. It plays up her looks, it plays up her sexuality, her being this kind of vixen that goes after, like that you could do. But we don't get that movie here. They set up an idea for what Sydney Sweeney's character could have been in a movie that not only she probably would have given a better performance for, but would have helped her succeed in the film being better. My issue is with the end is, again, similar to like the beginning and the feeling how dumb your audience is. She just happens to come across a cop who just happened to have, what was it, a sister?
It was a sister.
Yeah.
A sister that had an interaction that was never, the cops never read into it, even though she's a cop. It's not like she's, like, there are TV series built around the idea of this one cop going for revenge, but she's fine with it. She's okay. And then she just lets Sydney Sweeney get away with what she assumes is pretty guaranteed murder of a guy. But, had it been any other cop, she'd be in prison for the rest of her life. So what are you trying to tell me there? She just got lucky? Is that how this ends?
Yes.
What does that do?
Oh, this fucking sucks. Oh my god.
I mean, they set up the like ex-wife or ex-lover, and they set up the cop giving her the look beforehand to kind of want to say this is how we got to that point. And again, at that point in the movie, I'm in on the trash. Just keep playing it up. I'm good with that. And that also gave me like, this is the fun here where she gets away with it because she should get away with it because he was an asshole. And yeah, that was the part, again, 30 to 40 minutes way too late into this fucking film or way too long before this movie should have ended. But again, that was another part of the movie. Like if it was a tighter movie, I would have enjoyed massively because I would have been like Tyler Perry-esque trash, not trash, but like messiness. I like those kind of movies sometimes when they're entertaining enough.
But I think you could do it if you tell the right story tonally. I think you want to do a perfect example here. Is Another Simple Favor, the first one, which I think
A Simple Favor. A Simple Favor.
A Simple Favor. Sorry, the first.
Yeah,
one.
because Another Simple Favor was trash, and I'm sorry.
Another
I know
Simple
you said
Favor
it was
is not
better.
good, but
I hated
still,
that.
light
I
years
hated
better
that
than
movie.
this film.
Not at all. That movie was dumb and stupid and tried camp, and it didn't work, and it made me roll my eyes. At least this one, I was kind of in. Anyway.
I'm not going to defend either of these films, don't worry. But A Simple Favor, I think we can all agree, is at least a good film.
Oh, yeah, I like The Simple Favor a lot, actually.
Yeah, it's a good time. And you have a very similar dynamic with the Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick characters as you have here. And it's not a fully campy story. There are serious aspects of it, but it never takes itself too seriously. And it has comedy throughout that that it's not unintentionally funny.
It has the perfect lead to do that as well with Anna Kendrick, who does that tone perfectly.
And she's talented, unlike Sydney Sweeney.
Currently. I'm not going to say she's not talented. I haven't seen her in enough. She wasn't good in this.
She's not good in this movie. Yeah, I will agree there. But yeah, I think Paul Feig has done this. He's done this before the right way. And this is just, to me, doing it the exact wrong way. I would love to talk to him because I'd love to know what his intention was with this film. Like, did he think it was campy funny and it just didn't land? Or did he intend to do like a soap opera throwback, but again, without camp to see how it would work? Like that, what was that Julianne Moore film? That was like a soap opera?
May December.
Is that the one that's kind of soap opera?
With Natalie Portman and
Charles I haven't seen it.
May December, like it has a soap opera tone for a purpose. Not to, I'm going to be sad.
But that's what I'm saying. It's done, but it's done in a different way. Is that what he was going for, to try and tell that kind of? I just want to know what he aimed for.
I don't know. I don't know if he had a vision for this movie other than a twist. I'm so smart. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that seems to be what the angle was here. And I think the fact that I don't know is the worst thing about it. The fact that I watched this whole thing. I understand every single thing that happened in this movie. Like, narratively, I'm all like, I see what happened, and I still don't know what the intent was. Like, you start off with this Stepford Wives-esque thriller, and then you turn into this like locked door kind of like almost horror, and
you skip the erotic thriller in the middle,
and then some random ass romance in the middle. And I'm just like, I don't know what you're going for here. And it seems like when I say, "Hey, what were you going for?" and your answer is yes, like you might have lost the plot on this one. But you're like, hey, at least I pulled the rug out from someone, and that's like one of my least favorite types of. I don't know. I love Get Out, but I blame Get Out in a way where it's like everyone wants to. Oh, Get Out's brilliant, but everyone wants to be Get Out these days, and it's like, I understand that Get Out was Get Out because of a brilliant man. You can't try and be Get Out without having a reason.
So, my question for y'all, with a critics enjoying this movie, apparently, and it looking like it's going to be a $20 to $22 million weekend for this film, and there are 4 books in this series, will you give another one a shot? Because I will, but Paul, you got one more for me if you narrow it down and pick a tone.
We'll see where we land when that movie comes out. Like, who God knows where Sweeney's career is at like after this year. Probably not. Like, it's not, because like I saw Five Nights at Freddy's 2, like knowing how much I hated the first, but like that one's like, all right, you know what? I can get some meme content out of this. Housemaid's like, it's a terrible movie and people like it, so it's like, what am I going to get out of it?
And before we go into that, I will say, yes, Christy, I'm going to keep calling her Christy. Sydney Sweeney has not had a good year. This is a good end for her. Aside from your thoughts, having an actual win after all of that gives her a little bit of a soft cushion to land on.
It doesn't cancel out the losses, is what I would say.
No. But it's better than if this was this maligned and nobody saw it.
Yeah, let's put it like this: it's making money, but if it didn't come out the same weekend as Avatar, I think it would you know what I mean? If that makes sense, it's like yes, it's making money, but that story's getting buried real quick.
I think this is easily her most financially successful film this year. I think it's also pretty clearly her worst performance this year. And they just aren't mutually exclusive. Like, I think she's better in Eden. I think she's better in Christie. And
she's not very good in Americana.
Oh, well, I forgot about Americana. I didn't see Americana.
Everyone did.
Yeah, it was a very quiet release. And sometimes that's just how it goes. Like the 50 Shades movies made tons of money, Twilight made tons of money, and by the accounts of many people who watch them, they aren't particularly good, but they're adapted from things that people care about, and that'll be enough to drive people to the theater, or they're just promoted.
I have seen Twilight at least 8 times each. I've seen the movies a lot. People do.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
I feel like general audiences are going to eat this film up. I think they are going to massively enjoy this. I'm not even going to split it. I think they are going to very much enjoy this film.
I wish this is going to be insane what I'm about to say. I kind of wish it was like they enjoyed it in the same way that like some audiences enjoyed Madam Web, where it's like, oh, we know this is a piece of shit, but that's kind of why we're having some fun. Like we like laughing at this movie, and it seems like people are just actually enjoying themselves. So it's like, hey, look, if people are going out to see a movie that tries to be interesting and enjoys it, even if it's at my expense, it's like, fuck, fine, all right. Just wish, I don't know. I couldn't stand this movie. I really believe it's one of the worst movies of the year.
I'm not going to fault anyone for going to see this. Like, anytime people go to the movies is a good thing, especially for our industry. But this is one of my worst movies of the year. And I felt that instantly when I walked out. That isn't something where I sat in it a little bit. As I was watching it, I was like, I think I'm watching one of the worst movies of the year. And it came out in December. That's impressive.
And our circles all hated it too. It's like,
yeah.
So I was
Shaq was going to be on this episode as well, but unfortunately he's sick. Get well soon, Shaq. But he is not a fan of this film either.
My buddy Pravjot didn't like it. It's like everyone in our screening also hated it. And then reviews come out. I'm like, what is this is one of those moments where I'm like, it's not like when Deadpool and Wolverine came out where I'm like, I know I'm on the outs. Fuck it. This one I'm just like, what? Why?
Yeah, and funnily enough, all the rumblings out of mine were pretty that was cool. And me and fellow North Carolina Film Critics Association member Gabe, both of us sat there like, that wasn't good, but that was much better than I expected. So, hey, it is what it is. When y'all go see it, because some of y'all are probably going to see it, let us know what you thought in the comments. Do you think them two are absolutely crazy? Do you think I'm absolutely right because this movie's not great, but there's something in it? We all can agree it's way too fucking long. And to make sure we don't run too damn long, go to bitesizebreakdown.com. The review's up right now. Go check the bigger bite that is already out on Avatar Fire and Ash. That is very fucking long. And the red carpets that we have from Fire and Ash, the red carpet we had from Is This Thing On, and all of our content. And with that, for Adriano, for Nick, and for me, your boy Amarú, we'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.